Happy morning, everyone. Today we are going to see the poem Our Casuarina Tree. It was written by the poetess Toru Dutt. Imagine, after several years, you are going to visit your village. At that entrance, cheerful memories fill your mind, isn't it? What are the cheerful memories? That is, we used to play hide and seek with our friends, and after finished our exam, we would play under the shadow of this banyan tree, and we used to laugh loudly. Likewise, many events happen in our life. So this is a poem about poetess Toru Dutt who played with the tree, and she gets remembrance of the tree. So now let us see about the poet. So Toru Dutt, she was the poet. She was born on 4th March 1856 in Kolkata, and she died in 30th August 1877 in Kolkata. She was the first Indian poetess to write in English, and her first novel published in English by Indian writer. As a poet, her poems have Indian theme and background. And her collection of poems are Ancient Ballads and Legends of Hindustan, 1882, and it is a French poem, A Sheaf Gleaned in French Fields in 1876. So this poem contains 5 stanzas each with 11 lines, and the rhyme scheme of each stanza is A B B A C D D C E E E, and it is an autobiographical tone. What is autobiographical tone? The childhood memories of the poetess. So it represents autobiographical tone. And the poetess have siblings. Her brother name is Arju and her sister name is Aru. She knows Bengali, Sanskrit, Hindi and English. So in this poem, we are having 5 stanzas, and here the actor is the poet and she is the speaker. She used two figures of speech, that is metaphor and personification. Here, metaphor refers that tree compares to giant due its huge size, strength, and boldness. The tree is compared to gallant tree. Gallant means it is a strong. Why she gives giant tree? Because it is bold and strong. And personification refers to the trees. Come, let us go into the poem. And also we can say the poem is in 3 parts. The first part is the description of tree, and second part is likeness about the tree. Why she liked the tree? What is the reason? Then third one, reason for writing about the poem. What is the reason for writing about the casuarina tree? These three things which we are going to discuss in poem by stanza wise. So stanza 1. Like a huge python winding round and round, the rugged trunk indented deep with scars. So what does it mean? So like a huge python. So here a creeper is compared to python. Python means it is a kind of snake. Then where is the tree summit? The tree summit is near the starts. So the first stanza, the poem starts with the description of the tree. That is, the poet says, the creeper has wound itself around the rugged trunk of the cashew nut tree like a huge python. Up to its very summit near the stars, a creeper climbs in whose embraces bound no other tree could lie but gallantly. So the casuarina tree is covered with creeper, which bears red crimson flowers, which appear as though the tree is wearing a colorful scarf. So what is meant by scarf? It is like a shawl. Scars means wounds. So the casuarina tree, it was covered with creeper, which bears red crimson flowers, which appears as though the tree is wearing a colorful scarf, means colorful shawl. And oft at nights the garden overflows with one sweet song that seems to have no close, sung darkling from a tree while men repose. So often at night the birds are singing a song which has no close, means which have no ending. And also the tree stands like a giant. Birds and bees are gathered on the tree. So here the whole night the birds are singing a song and welcoming the morning. And oft at nights the garden overflows with one sweet song that seems to have no close, sung darkling from our tree while men repose. So this is a garden, and the garden is fully filled with the birds singing and their enjoyment. So the first stanza describes about the strength of the tree, and the tree having rough skin, and it is being garlanded by vine having flowers. It rings about the it rings around the trunk like a snake. This describes the strength and courage of the tree, which is still standing tall. And also, he says the tree seems to symbolize vitality, which is transmitted to the flowers, which attract bees and birds to the tree. The whole scene is of a harmonious whole, with each part being inextricably linked to the tree. So the first stanza represents the strength and courage of the tree, and also it describes about the bird singing song. So stanza 2. When first my casement is wide open thrown, at dawn my eyes delighted on its rest. So the second stanza, the poetess says, casement means window. Casement means window. So she says, at dawn, morning, during morning, when the poet opens her window, she is delighted to see the casuarina tree. Sometimes, and most in winter, on its crest, a grey baboon sits statue like alone, watching the sunrise, while a lawyer bows his puny offspring leap about and play. So, what she's saying, during winter, the poetess opened her window and she was delighted to see the casuarina tree. And also she says, mostly in winter, a grey baboon. Baboon means it is a type of monkey. So a grey baboon was sitting on the crest of the tree and it is watching the sunrise. And also with her younger ones leaping and playing with tree boughs. So mostly in winter, a grey baboon was watching the sunrise on sitting on the crest of the tree and with her young ones leaping and playing in the tree boughs. And far and near Kokilas hailed the day, and to the pastures went our sleepy cows, and in the shadow on the broad tank cast by that whole tree, so beautiful and vast. So here the night time is referred here, and the kokilas, the birds are singing, and the cows are grazing. So it was so beautiful to see and to hear. And far and near kokilas hailed the day, and to the pastures went our sleepy cows. And in the shadow on the broad tank cast by that whole tree, so beautiful and vast, the water lilies spring like a snow in must. So what does it mean? Kokilas, it is or it are the birds like cuckoos. So hor means cluster or group of trees. And enmassed snow, here the lilies are compared with enmassed snow. Enmassed snow means it is a type of snow. Which was covered. So it was compared to the water lilies. And what does the poet says? The kokila singing, the cows grazing, and the water lilies springing in the pond. So here the water lilies are compared with the snow. It is a pure white. So the second stanza represent new animals like baboon and birds are introduced that extol the beauty and nourishing nature of the tree. Even the tree's shadow provides refuge to the lazy cattle around and flowering lilies in the water tank. So in this stanza, she describes about the baboon tree, kokilas, cow, and water lilies. So the third stanza is, but not because of its magnificence. Dear is the casuarina to my soul. Beneath it we have played, though years may roll, O sweet companions, loved with love intense. So the third stanza, what does it say? What does she say? The tree was so dear to the poetess. Why? Because it brings happy childhood memories to her. And also it represents it was under the shade of the tree that she and her friends played as children. So it she describes about the tree. That is, the tree is very dear to her. Companions means here friends. For your sakes shall the tree be ever dear, blent with your images it shall arise in memory till the heart tears blind mine eyes. So what does it say? What does she say? That is, she was very much attracted by the tree and she was very dear to the tree. When she thought about the tree, she feels very sad and she feels very agony. So she describes about the tree. That is, she never forget the tree. What is that dirge like murmur that I hear, like the sea breaking on a shingle beach? It is the tree's lament and eerie speech that happily to the unknown land may reach. So the poetess says it is very dear to her heart and soul because she and her siblings spent happy moments under it. And she also says how strong the image of the tree is even when In lands far away, when she is in fair, she also remembers that image of the tree. And also she says, it was very dear to my heart. And she could communicate with the tree even when she was far off land, as she could hear the tree lamenting her absence. So stanza 4. Unknown yet well known to the eye of faith. Ha, I have heard that I wail far, far away. So in this stanza, she says, though she was in fair, she heard the tree murmuring. That tree is always talking with her. In distant lands, so many a sheltered bay, when slumbered in his cave, the water wraith and the waves gently kiss the classic shore of France or Italy beneath the moon. So, though she lives in France and Italy, she never forgets about the tree and she loves the native land. So, here she describes about the native land. The poem does not limit itself to the world of unseen and turns back to the living world. So the poetess describes the lingering image that the tree has, that she senses it even in distant places like Europe and France. She wants the tree to be admired in this world for generations to come. When earth lay tranced in a dreamless swoon, and every time the music rose before, so often she is hearing the tree lamenting. That is, the tree is talking with her, like that she is always hearing. Mine inner vision rose a form sublime, thy form, O tree, as in my happy prime I saw thee in my own loved native clime. So what is she saying? She feels about the tree only in her native land, not in France or Italy. Though she lives in France and Italy, she feels that love and dear only in her native land. So stanza 5. Therefore I fain would consecrate a lay unto thy honour, tree, beloved of those who now in blessed sleep for a repose, dearer than life to me, alas, were they. So the fifth stanza represents about the tree. That is, she immortalized the tree through her poem like Wordsworth, who sanctified the yew tree of Barodel in verse. And also she says why she want to honor the tree, because how she's going to honor the tree by writing the poem. And she describes about her siblings, that is the yew tree. The next line we can see that yew tree, this is a yew tree. Mayst thou be numbered when my days are done with deathless trees like those in Barodel, under whose awful branches lingered pale, fear, trembling, hope, and death, the skeleton, and time the shadow. So these are the descriptions about the tree. That would thy beauty fain, oh fain rehearse, may love defend thee from oblivion curse. So what is the fifth stanza? It represents the poetess want to honor the tree. How? Because she is going to write the poem and she suffered from disease. So she writes poem. She compares Wordsworth poem yew tree. We realizes his poet. Likewise, she writes Casuarina tree. No one forget her remembrance and no one will forget. It is very dear and soul to her heart. So she contributes the tree by writing poem. She finally wishes her love became so strong that it saves the casuarina tree from its demise. And also she says the casuarina tree will be remembered forever because the poet expresses her wish that the tree should be remembered out of love, not just because it cannot be forgotten. So this is the poem. So what is the poem? Again, I will tell you the summary of the poem. The summary of the poem. The casuarina tree is trailed by a creeper wying like a huge python. And the creeper had left deep marks on the trunk of a tree. The casuarina tree has wearing the scarf of the creeper hung with crimson flowers. At dawn, when the poetess opened her window, she was delighted to see the casuarina tree. And mostly in winter, a grey baboon was sitting on the crest of the tree, seeing the sun rise, and with the younger ones leaping and playing in the tree boughs. The kokila singing, the cows grazing, and the water lilies springing in the pond. The tree was so dear to the poetess because it brings happy childhood memories to her. It was under the shade of the tree that she and her friends played as children. And also, the poetess could communicate with the tree even when she was far off land, as she could hear the tree lamenting her absence. Finally, she immortalized the tree through her poem, like Wordsworth, who sanctified the yew tree of Borrowdale in verse. So, this is the poem. Now, the moral of the poem is nature can communicate with human beings. Thank you.